A Children's Activism Legal Rights Guide. Chapter 1. Children's Activist Legal Rights Issues. Children's Rights Info. The Reagan era passed Executive Order 12606, the family, which was pro-family. Clinton passed Executive Order 13405, protection of children from environmental health risks and safety risks, which gave the government some power to go in and oversee families to protect them from themselves. Many people think this is an intrusion of their rights, while many people say it's necessary to protect children from unfit parents, but the problem seems to be one of degree. Social and medical workers are too quick to go in and remove children from families at the first sign of any neglect, abuse, or corporal punishment. Often, an angry child can lie and make up stories to get their parents in trouble, which some do. The United Nations passed the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child in 1989, which is a document that gives broad rights to children: civil, political, economic, social, and cultural. What this does is basically challenge family rights and subordinates them to a child's rights, so parents have less power in raising their children. Children can leave their family if they want to go into the government system, or they can request to be emancipated from their parents to be free. If you're ever in a situation where the government takes your children for whatever reason, you may get some help from some Christian legal organizations. Children have rights to seek their own decisions regarding such things as abortion if pregnant, whether to give a child up for adoption, contraception, pregnancy, sexual behavior with consenting people, sexual orientation, sexually transmitted diseases. The Children's Bill of Rights. The Wisconsin Courts Mediation Branch has come up with the Children's Bill of Rights, which applies to children in divorce proceedings. The 10 tenets are as follows. 1. The right to be treated as an interested and affected person and not as a pawn, possession, or chattel of either or both parents. 2. The right to grow to maturity as a competent, responsible citizen. 3. The right to the affection, care, discipline, and protection of both parents. 4. The right to know both parents and to have the benefit of each parent's love and guidance. 5. The right to a positive and constructive relationship with both parents, with neither parent to be permitted to degrade or downgrade the other in the mind of the child. 6. The right to have moral and ethical values developed by precept and practices and have limits set for behavior, so that the child, early in life, may develop self-discipline and self-control. 7. The right to the most adequate level of economic support that can be provided by the best efforts of both parents. 8. The right to the same opportunities for education that the child would have had if the family unit had not been broken. 9. The right to the periodic review of custodial arrangements and child support orders as the circumstances of the parents and the benefit of the child may require. 10. The right to the recognition that children involved in divorce are always disadvantaged parties, and that the law must take affirmative steps to preserve their welfare and protect their interests. Children's rights websites. 4children.org, Action Alliance for Children, comprehensive children's advocacy materials. 4children.org/topics/family_support. acf.hhs.gov, Administration for Children and Families. advocatesforyouth.org. advocatesforyouth.org. answers.yahoo.com, same-sex sibling incest. childadvocate.org. childhouse.uio.no, children's rights. childrensdefense.org. childwelfare.gov. crin.org, Child Rights Information Network, info@crin.org. crin.org, Child Rights. crin.org/enoc/resources/infodetail.asp, European Network of Ombudspeople for Children. crin.org/resources, Child Rights Information Network. cwgk4.chem.cwru.edu. cwlaw.org, Child Welfare League. defenseforchildren.org. European Children's Network.org. gmfc.org. gocrc.com, Children's Rights Council. hrw.org. info4parents.com, Children's Rights Council, custody info for unmarried parents. info4parents.com, Children's Rights Council, custody info for unmarried parents. loc.gov/law/help/child-rights/australia.html. loc.gov/law/help/child-rights/international-law.html. naturalchild.com, Children's Rights. ncra-youthrights.org. nias.net, children's advocates who fight for the right of children to be heard and listened to if they are old enough. rightsofchildren.ca. unhchr.ch/html/menu3/b/k2crc.htm, Convention on the Rights of the Child. unicef.org/crc, in Children's Fund. vix.com/crc/catalog.htm, Children's Rights Council. wikio.co.uk/family/teen/youth_rights. youthrights.net. unhchr.ch. Children Advocate Organizations. Advocates for Youth. 125 Vermont Avenue, Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-237-5700. Children's Rights, Inc. 132 West 43rd St. NYC 10036. 212-944-9800. Fax, 212-921-7916. CRIN.org. National Center on Child Abuse Neglect. 202-205-8586. Fax, 202-260-9351. National Council for Children's Rights. Children's Rights Council. 220 I St. N.E. Number 230. Washington, New Jersey 20002. 202-547-6227. Child Custody Resources. National Court-Appointed Special Advocates Association. 2722 East Lake Avenue East. Number 220. Seattle, Washington 98102. 800-628-3233. 206-328-8588. Fax, 206-323-8137. National Legal Resource Center for Child Advocacy Protection. 202-331-2200. Children's Law/Juvenile Law websites. For legal purposes, a minor is a child or infant who doesn't have the maturity or the ability to act as a responsible adult. The age defining a minor varies by state, but in the federal 1974 Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, a child is defined as someone under 18 years of age. A minor is a person under the legally defined age of adulthood, therefore normally required to be in the custody of a parent or guardian, in foster care or under other legally responsible supervision. Children's law usually covers foster care, child custody, child abuse, hitting your children, depriving them of the basic needs, child's rights to make their own decisions, and emancipation. Juvenile law is usually criminal law, how we treat children who break laws. NACCChildlaw.org, National Association of Counsel for Children. abanet.org/child/home.html, ABBA Center on Children and the Law. answers.uslegal.com. CAIchildlaw.org, Children's Advocacy Institute, San Diego, CA. CCLP.org, Center for Children's Law and Policy, Washington, D.C. childlaw.sc.edu. The Children's Law Center is a resource center for South Carolina professionals who are involved in child maltreatment or juvenile justice court proceedings. childrenslawcenter.org, nonprofit corporation providing free legal services in the District of Columbia. childrenslawcenter.org. childrenslawgroup.com. childrenslawkey.org, Kentucky. childrenslawlaw.org, Children's Law Advocacy Resources, Louisiana. Children'sLegalCenter.com, promoting children's rights in the UK and worldwide. CLCCT.org, Children's Law Center of Connecticut, Inc. CLClaw.org, Children's Law Center of Los Angeles. CLCM.org, Children's Law Center of Massachusetts, Inc., helps low-income children. CLCMN.org, Children's Law Center of Minnesota. CRIMINAL-LA.freeadvice.com/juvenile_law. denimlaw.com/juvenile_law.html, Austin, TX. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/juvenile_left_law right-. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/lawyers_for_children, the mission to advocate on behalf of children in foster care in New York City. FACLC.org, Family Children's Law Center gotTrouble.com/legal/criminal/juvenile. Family.findlaw.com. IPL.unm.edu/child law, New Mexico Children's Law Center. JLC.org, Juvenile Law Center, the Rights of Children in Pennsylvania. Juvenile.law.org. Kids.laws.com, Kids Law, Kids Law section provide guide to legal process involving kids, kid legal definition, child custody, and other legal issue involving kids. larc.org/pamphlets/children_family. law.duke.edu/child law, Children's Law Clinic, North Carolina. law.justinswer.com. lawdigest.uslegal.com/minors. lawforkids.org. lawwelp.org. lawinfo.com/attorney/juvenile-law. legal-database.com/family law. legalmatch.com/law-library. musicallelmix.com/juvenile_law_news.aspx. ospar.org/public/pamphlets/youth-law/youth_index.html, from the Oregon State Bar Association. abannet.org/child/home.html, children family law issues, ABBA. ospar.org/public/pamphlets/youth-law/youth_index.html, Youth Faces the Law, a Juvenile Rights Handbook. PEOPLES-law.org/children. Rocky Mountain Children's Law Center.org. Searchballoon.com/society/law_information/juvenile_law.aspx. Youth-law.org. Children's Law Organizations. American Bar Association. Center on Children and the Law. 541N. Fairbanks, CT. Chicago, Illinois 60611. 312-988-5522. abannet.org/child. Center on Children Law. 202-662-1720. Child Care Law Center. 415-495-5498. Children's Defense Fund. 25 EST. Washington, D.C. 20001. 202-628-8787. childrensdefense.org. National Center for Women Family Law. 212-674-8200. Emancipation of a minor. Minors who have been freed from parental control and care as by marriage or military service, are called emancipated minors. Children under the age of majority can free themselves from parental or guardian control by two methods. Emancipation. The young person achieves self-reliant adult status by either joining the military, getting married, working a job, paying their own way, getting pregnant and on social welfare, etc. Mature minors generally don't meet the standard for emancipation, but they can override their parents in certain important decisions about their lives like medical care and education choices. A child who is generally about 15 or older but not yet the age of adulthood can file a legal motion to be emancipated from his parents' or guardian's custody. Most states have an age limit. You can't be younger than a certain age to file this legal process. Emancipation of a minor websites. answers.uslegal.com/category.php?cid=11. ehow.com, how to become an emancipated minor in Washington State. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/emancipated_minor. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/emancipation_of_minors. family.findlaw.com/emancipation. jlc.org, Juvenile Law Center. jlc.org/factsheets/emancipation Juvenile Law Center. larc.org/pamphlets/children_families/teen_emancipation.hdm. lawdigest.uslegal.com/minors/emancipation-of-minor. lawforkids.org. lawwelp.org. legal-database.com/family-law/emancipated-minor.hdm. legalmatch.com/law-library/article/emancipation-lawyers.html. nwell.org/emancipation_of_minors.hdm. peoples-law/children/emancipation/emancipationhome.hdm. teenparents.org/emancipation.html. usmarriagelaw's.com/search/united_states/emancipation_of_minors/index.shtml. guardianship by law/legal guardianship. A guardian is an adult who has been given temporary or long-term legal responsibility for a minor, called a ward, though not necessarily having day-to-day custody and care of the child. In legal proceedings relating to child abuse, child neglect, or custody, the court will often appoint a guardian to represent the child's interests during the case. In these cases, the guardian is sometimes called a conservator or a surrogate parent. If a parent, generally a single parent, knows he or she is going to die soon due to a terminal disease, find a guardian for your kid, and set it up in your will. You could even do an adoption process by the guardian while you're still alive. If you are the parents of children with disabilities that will require care into adulthood, find a guardian, usually a relative or good friend, who is ready, willing, and able to take care of them should something happen to you then designated in the will. If you don't do this, there will be custody battles and the court may even take over control of the children and put them in state-run institutions. Foster parents are often appointed guardians of the children in their care. The legal guardian may be held responsible for the child's wrongdoing. Gay and lesbian couples need to get a guardianship form in places where gay marriage is not legal. Guardianship by law/legal guardianship websites. answers.com/topic/guardian-ad-litem, guardian appointed by the court. babycenter.com, how should we choose a legal guardian for our child? childguardianplan.com, child legal guardian plan, custody guardianship form kit. childguardianship.com. courttv.com/archive/legal-cafe/family/nanny/guardian.html. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/legal_guardian. free-legal-document.com/legal-guardian.html. guardianet.net. teenparents.org/lg.html, legal guardianships. valueoptions.com/september06_newsletter/choosing_guardian.html. wills.picking-the-best-legal-guardian-for-your-child.html. Guardian Association. POB 1826. Pinellas Park, Florida 34644. 813-448-0730. Monthly newsletter The Guardian. National Guardianship Association. Office of Conferences and Institutes, Western Michigan University. Kalamazoo, Michigan 49008-5161. 616-387-4171. Fax 387-4189. Newsletter National Guardian, Membership Directory. Parental liability for child's actions. Parental liability is a parent's obligation for damages caused by a minor child regardless of whether the child's actions are committed as a result of criminal acts, intention, or negligence. The extent and nature of parental liability varies with state laws. Most states hold parents responsible for willful or malicious property damage and willful or malicious personal injuries caused by their children. Generally, the state laws limit the dollar amount of parental liability and do not hold parents liable for actions of children under 8 or thereabouts, except in cases where the parent was grossly negligent, as in leaving a loaded gun laying around, in easy access of a young child. Under the family car doctrine, the parent may be liable for damages caused by a child driving his or her parents' vehicles, regardless of whether it is with their consent or not. A list of juvenile law websites at user.xmission.com/tilde/utahjuvenilelaw.html. There is a good juvenile justice article at that page user.xmission.com/tilde/utahjuvenilelaw.html. user.xmission.com/tilde/juvenile-prosecutors.html. The National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges published Juvenile Delinquency Guidelines. ncjf.org/resource-library/juvenile-delinquency-guidelines-improving-court-practice-juvenile. The National Juvenile Defender Center. njdc.info. njdc.info/wp-content/upload/2013/09/delinquency-notebook.pdf. utcourts.gov/courts/juvie, Utah's Juvenile Disposition Guidelines. sentencing.utah.gov, Utah's Division of Juvenile Justice Services. jjs.utah.gov. Utah Board of Juvenile Justice. juvenile.utah.gov, Utah Network on Juveniles Offending Sexually. enojos.net, Federal Publications on Juvenile Justice. ncjrs.gov/app/publications/alphalist.aspx, U.S. Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. ojjdp.gov/index.html, National Center for Juvenile Justice State Profiles. ncjj.org/publications/state-justice-profiles-2005.aspx, Center on Juvenile and Criminal Justice Compilation of Juvenile Court Success Stories. cjcj.org/uploads/cjcj/documents/secondchances.pdf, National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. ncjfcj.org/ Interstate Commission for Juveniles. JuvenileCompact.org, PBS Frontlines Show on Juvenile Justice. pbs.org/wgbh/pages/frontline/shows/juvenile, PBS Frontlines Show on Little Criminals. pbs.org/wgbh/pages/frontline/shows/little, The National Juvenile Defender Center. njdc.info, the American Bar Association's Juvenile Justice web page. apps.americanbar.org/dch/committee.cfm?com=CR200000, Utah Juvenile Defense, a summary. user.xmission.com/tilde/wake/Utah Juvenile Defense.html. Utah Juvenile Defense Video. user.xmission.com/tilde/wake/Utah Juvenile Defense Video.wmv. user.xmission.com/tilde/wake/Juvenile Cour TCA Lende Graphics.html. The Willow Project. user.xmission.com/tilde/wake/The Willow Project.html. Technically anyone can refer a child to juvenile court. Internet self-arrest form. eastpointpolice.org/selfarrestform.htm. No hose. Utah Network on Juveniles Offending Sexually. enojos.net. sentencing.utah.gov. The impact of the Serious Youth Offender Law. justice.utah.gov/documents/research/juvenile/syol impact.pdf